What's up?
Hey now.
Hey now, you're a rock star.
Thank you for pulling.
What's up, everybody? That's BK over there.
That's HO. Or
this is Hiram, yeah, and we got Christian Cortez on the house too.
All right,
and welcome to the second post film festival edition of the Hang On to Your Shorts podcast. And last time we were here, we couldn't get him in because he was doing an open mic night because he's a multi-talented man, but we do have him today. He is the producer and director of the great movie Guerrilla Warfare, not Guerrilla GUE, but Guerrilla like Warfare, that screened at our festival a couple of weeks ago. We have Charlie
Caracciolo, that's it.
Caracciolo, I like that better. Yeah, dude, we like your t-shirt. Nice.
Yeah, look at me. I know how to brown nose. Look at me. How are you guys?
The funny thing is, you don't have to, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
So great. It was so great meeting you at the festival. You just
I had a great time.
A lot of energy, and I loved your film. Just really did.
Thank you, man.
So
it was great. I had a great time.
Yeah,
I printed up these and I had them there. You can cut bologna; they're so sharp and heavy, but it was nice. And I love watching it just to hear the audience. And it's different seeing it in a theater than it is seeing it in a library or seeing it in a space that's not really a theater. So to hear it with real movie sound was quite imposing. But I could hear people laughing, and that's why I continue to go.
No, that's
great stuff. And it was very well run. I saw so many great movies that day.
Yes. Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. I mean, we talked baseball.
Yeah.
Mets.
That was quite the schlep for me. I had a great time driving to Red Bank, and I loved the town. The town was so great. I had some fantastic pizza. I went to Kevin Smith's place, and I definitely mean to go back there one day. So much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Well, we would love you to, and maybe that's help maybe next year. We never know.
Yeah. Oh, I would love that. I'm working on a couple things, so hopefully.
Bless you.
Please forgive me. Allergy season has been kicking our butts.
It's brutal.
Yes, and I don't know how it is, out there in Franklin Square, but we had a couple of days of cool rain and showers, and now the sun is out again. So my car was covered, in
that dust.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Brutal. It's raining here now, but we had a terrible Memorial Day weekend, except for Monday. Monday was beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So we squoze it all into one day, but it's nasty out now. My son graduated from college today.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And what was his major?
He majored in history, double major, history and education. I double majored, same school, Queens College, in communications and film studies. I still haven't used either one. I studied the Man on the Moon and the Great Train Robbery, and then I got into television, not film. I was such a film snob when I got out of school. I was like, TV.
Did you discuss Nook of the North and Moana?
All of it. I had that.
Yeah.
We saw. I took a documentary class. So it was the Flaherty thing with having burned up the whole thing. It was really. Yeah. I saw some great stuff, and
then later on we found out that some of that was staged, which was
staged. I know, it blew my mind. I saw some great stuff. I saw Les Blank, who I never would have seen, a documentary filmmaker that I loved. And I remember thinking when I got into making my docs that I wanted to make happy documentaries about my baseball league. And because everything could be, documentaries can be dour. Every festival I go to, it's always, and I understand those stories. I think we talked about those stories need to be told. But from watching a guy like Les Blank, he made a movie called, you may know, Garlic is as Good as 10 Mothers. It was about garlic. And then he did a film about gap-toothed women. And he did a film about
they're all beautiful,
New Orleans funerals, like New Orleans Chupitalis, And I remember watching it and being like, oh, I thought documentaries were only about, the Holocaust and, Polish nuns who were, So that was my bag. And what I took from film school was that film, there's a lot of great different things out there, and, docs can be happy. So that's what I set out to do before I did this thing. I did a couple of documentaries about my youth, about my Little League, and about my rock club days. And then I got into kind of narrative filmmaking with this.
Rock club days?
Yeah, I played in a band with my wife and my best friend, and we had like in the late '80s, early '90s, it was a club on Northern Boulevard in Queens. And we were older, we had children, we were kind of harking back one day, and we were like, we should make a documentary about that. And we were like, yeah, we should, yeah, we should. And then we did,
No.
and it was great. You think you're the only one that has the memories of it, then you talk to 40 or 50 people, and you're like, oh my God, this is the touchstone for everybody we grew up with.
Right.
So that happened twice. Lightning kind of struck twice for us, and
he's hitting so many points, because
yeah,
one of the things that I talk about with people that were there is the magic of the Jersey Shore and the Jersey Shore like club scene.
Right.
I was very innocent. I wasn't there doing anything other than listening to music. But
right, sure.
Even as a 16, no, absolutely. That came later.
Yeah.
But as a kid, like just going and going to Joey Harrison Surf Club, going to Masquerade.
Oh my God.
The first club that I went to was called Club Panache. It was such a beautiful and lively thing that kids nowadays will never understand.
Yeah.
They don't go out. There's no clubs for music. So that was one of the first things. And we barely had any footage because it was all VHS. And who was going to schlep around a 12-pound camera when your band was playing? Almost nobody. So one of the reviews was like, for a music documentary, there's precious little music in it. And I'm like, I don't know what you want us to do today. You'd have too much video. You'd have everybody's phone and Snapchat, and it would probably saturate it. But yeah, there was almost a goldenness to that. Like, it is a mystery. The music was there. We played, tapes and stuff, and had a couple of live spots. But there was almost the kind of, you had to be there, and if you weren't,
you missed it.
You.
And people that were not there will never understand.
Yeah, you won't.
So that I think when you talk about that, there's two docs that come to mind. One is one of our friends, Rob Akampora, who does the A Game and is now on a couple of different radio stations. I think also he's on the Rat.
Yeah.
But back in the day, he was on WHTG, which was an alternative radio station, which was the same like brand as the one that was out in Long Island, which was I think LIR.
DRE, that documentary was great.
Yeah. So
there was one about DRE LIR. It was amazing.
Yeah, I saw that. And then I saw the one that they had done about WHTG. And the one that they did about HTG really hit home because I knew a lot of these DJs. In fact, Rich Robinson, who was one of the main DJs and station manager, still is he's over at Brookdale and runs the radio station over there. So, I mean, it's like that. Like you're talking about like grassroots, but it's also like you're getting this flavor from a certain era, And
totally.
That's what hit home when I was watching the short that you had for us, which
Guerrilla Warfare.
Guerrilla Warfare. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it at one point in time before we get to the big screen, and I'm watching this and I'm going, holy shit, I had that toy. And woven into this whole thing is this magical story that was just so fucking cool, man. I couldn't stop laughing, and
that's great.
I was just vibing with it because like that's the
you
era.
Lived that.
Yeah. I was a Planet of the Ape at one point in time. I dressed up as a Planet of the Ape for a Halloween.
We
were in Cub Scouts. It was nuts.
Well, the first time I ever heard the term gorilla,
I
had the same.
Oh, right. The other spelling. Right.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Gorillas. And wow.
I was a suggestible kid, so I was always very impressionable. And my mother, I was telling somebody the other day, she told me a lot of stuff too early. Like in my next film, I'm doing I'm not proud of this, but I've had three different accidents with pedestrians in 3 different cars. All right. So the name of the movie is, my wife used to give me a pep talk anytime, right after. She'd be like, listen, remember. And I'm like, remember what? Like, what, honey, do this? What? And she would be like, don't hit the people. And so that's the name of the next film. And in one part of it, what we just talked about, I lost my train of thought. It was
gorillas. Don't hit the
gorillas, right. So, no, I just lost my train of thought. I shouldn't have tangented. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'll
find it again. Yeah. But anyway, in that movie, I'm trying to do a recapitulation of the accidents that I've had, trying to kind of brush them off and make it not my fault. So that'll be the next thing I come out with. I'm sorry I lost my train.
No, it's okay. But you got to be careful what you relate in a movie. that people see.
I just
Don't
make
let
it
the other
make it.
attorneys watch it.
Yeah. The statute of limitations has to be expired on those, but
Yes.
yeah, that's hilarious. Sorry, I
That's good.
No, that's
detoured
great.
there. Yeah.
Listen, this is what we do. We sit here, we talk up our sponsor,
Yeah.
Five Dimes Brewing, and another one of our friends, Kane Brewing, and
this is one that I had found the other day. This is Hoof-Hearted Brewing. Now, what we try to do is Hoof-Hearted. Well, yeah, maybe
that is the pun. Yeah, Hoof-Hearted. Yeah. I think it's an old National Lampoon joke. Sorry,
he just
I redeemed myself.
Wow.
like
Hoof-Hearted.
Hoof-Hearted Brewing, and then Hoof-Hearted, and
well, listen to the name of name of this.
Right, yeah. $60 nachos is the name of the beer. No nachos in it. Thank goodness. Well, that might be okay, but yeah, I think we had this little brew fest. So it was out at Whole Foods the other day, and we're perusing stuff, and I'm like walking by, I'm like, I saw this, I was like, oh, I got to pick this up.
Perusing.
Yeah. Have you seen the White Death or Black Death, and it's water?
Yeah.
Liquid Death.
What market? Genius marketing. Liquid Death.
Absolutely.
It's either the worst or the best marketing ever done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
That's crazy.
So,
I mean, I always thought, now I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, talk about when we were young.
Yeah.
We used to drink from the hose, and water came from the tap. And if we wanted to cool it, we would throw it in the fridge. Then later on came those things that you filled up, and it filtered the water, because somehow they convinced us Brita that filtered water was better.
Yep.
And then they succeeded in
we
this.
all believed it, right?
Forget the microplastics. This is supposedly healthier. I am telling you, remember the movie Spaceballs? Perrier. If they could find a way to make us buy air, they would.
Oh, sure.
And
do you ever see
bars?
Oh, yes.
Taking Woodstock, the movie about the putting on. It's about the hotel that puts up all the acts and stuff, and it's about a young kid. He's dealing with his kind of not Orthodox Jewish parents, but very old-fashioned Jewish parents who are not ready to take hippies in there. And when they're dealing with Max Yasgur, who gives them the land, he talks about what went wrong at another festival, and he says some of the locals were filling bottles with water and selling it. They were selling water for $1 a bottle. And the audience in the theater goes berserk, because at that point in the theater, we probably paid $8 for water. But it's one of those things that, you gag about, and then it comes true. And then you, like you said, you accept it. We would buy it,
Yeah, I wish we didn't accept it.
Wow.
I know.
But now
drinking from the hose was pretty great, man. Remember that earthy taste?
We could still taste it. We could still taste it.
And it was warm a lot of times.
Oh, you have to let it run. We'd forget all the time.
Yeah.
Remember crimping it? You had to crimp it to get the little dribble. And then one wise guy brother or cousin would let it go.
Yeah,
that would be a face full. It was very refreshing on a summer day. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So before we even get into further into the movie, I have to ask, how did the open mic night go the other day?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to one after this too. It went good. What we do is, so I'm 61 and I'm playing with kids that are, one is 29, one is 38, one is 42. It's weird. Okay. And I was in a band with, like I said, with my wife and my best friend for years. We wrote our original stuff. But now I just play for another creative outlet. I can't make a movie every week or weekend. I would love to. So I do the open mic stuff just to kind of stay out there and get some exercise, meet people.
Nice.
And so what we do is we text each other, learn this, and this, and this. And we'll get there, and then we just throw it up against the wall. And remarkably, more times than not, it goes well. And so that night it went well. Tonight we're playing a Beatles song, a Metallica song, a Judas Priest, and an Ozzy Osbourne song. So I'm going to be learning them on the way out.
To the place, can you let us know
where are you playing?
Oh, we're playing. It's called Mr. Beery's. It's funny. I wanted to do a documentary on that place. They have been putting on live music forever, but they're now going to close. They're closing in about a year, and it's got this wacky.
Come on.
I
It's
know.
no
So
fun.
that's why
Now you
I
gotta do
go
it.
every Thursday because it's going to be going away. And my
Right.
daughter's, I got to milk it for all it's worth. They
Sure.
have a stage that folds up like a Murphy bed
Oh
into the wall.
God.
I have to show you. I'll have to film it and show you
Yeah.
as they're pulling it down. It could probably kill somebody if it's done wrong,
Right.
but it comes down. And then when you're on the stage, you would never guess that that's how it works.
Wow.
So it's just one of those places that I know in 20 years, people will be going, do you remember the open mic at Mr. Beery's? And
Yeah.
to me, that's the stuff of life, man. Like
Sure.
this,
Yeah.
it's this, you know, for people of a certain age, it's a phrase I heard as a kid, and I never understood it, but now I do. When you said I had those toys, so partly I'm making a movie for people who had this and who
Right.
remember the 4:30 movie and who
Yes.
remember Evil Knievel, but I
Mhm.
think there's a universality to it. You know, replace Evil Knievel with Power Rangers or anime, and everybody has, you know, it's universal in that sense that everybody has that thing that they associate with a certain time. And I'm sure my kids were afraid of certain, you know, I took my son to see Shrek, and in the beginning Shrek comes out and yells. My son wouldn't go back in the theater for several years. He was terrified
Yeah.
of this dark space where this big
Mhm.
monster shouted, so we had to cajole him to get back into it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you know, that was part of my thinking was, you know, and it's about movies, which I thought was great.
Sure.
What wasn't so great is that I broke every copyright law in the known universe. And so I'm hoping somebody will buy the thing from me and kind of turn it into a Wonder Years, you know, a touching little portrait, you
It
know, like
it's
that. But we'll
definitely
see.
like its own genre, like
Mhm.
nostalgia
Mhm.
docs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
make a whole film festival about that.
I was
Yeah.
aiming to make it like a Spalding Gray monologue. Spalding Gray to me is a
Yes.
genius. I don't know if you've sworn in Cambodia. He did the one about the sweat lodges, and to me, he was a genius. And he was very
Mhm.
troubled, and he ended up
Yes.
killing himself. And you know,
Yes.
it's very sad. But I love that kind of what you do, and it kind of presaged podcast, sitting behind a desk.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, can I do that? Can I just sit there and talk? Is it too self indulgent? And then one of the things I heard about guerrilla warfare was from one of the festivals that rejected it was it's not cinematic enough. There's only so many zoom in on picture, and I was crushed. But I remember every minute after that, anytime I got accepted, I was like, oh boy, they, I got that
Mhm.
one past them. You know,
Right.
but you know, in watching it every time, I don't know if it has to be blowing up and
No.
cinematic
No.
and you know actors and this and that. And I don't know how. When I see a film with 30 people in the credits, I don't know how. I'm like, I could barely get 3 people to kind of like me. You know, I'm
Right.
like, how would you deal on a set with 18 people and not piss 5 of them off to
Right.
the point where they're like, I'm leaving, screw this
Right.
guy. You know.
Right.
So
Right.
I kind of make these films with a one-man crew, and it's myself. And until that fails, I'm going to keep doing it.
No, that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah, it's
I
very
mean,
strange because everybody else has a community, and you know, I guess that'll happen for me soon.
Well,
yeah.
there's listen, different strokes for different folks. It's a
Exactly,
But
exactly.
but it
Whatever
worked.
works.
It worked. It
Yeah,
worked.
that's the thing.
And I loved it. I loved it when I
That's
saw
great.
it,
Great to hear.
and because it hit me. It hit me at that age range, you know, and I got to be honest with you, you threw that thing in there with the Olympics, and I was completely like, wow, where are we going with this? And then bang, and then that becomes part of the story. And then
Yeah.
like that's what I loved about it as well. It started out here and then brought you right back around to the.
He's making a circle.
I'm making a circle.
I
Probably right back.
wondered about that time because
Mhm.
I remember talking to my wife. My wife passed last year. She passed in March
Oh,
of
sure.
25.
I
So she was my kind of North Star. I would write stuff and it would be in self-indulgent. It would be tangential and it would
Mhm.
be too much. And she would take a red pen and be like, no, no, and just, you know, kill all the darlings and, you know, and give it back to me with coded, you know, yellow means leave, you know, cyan means take it out completely. Red means I rewrote it for you. So this was the last film that I had the benefit of her
Wow.
guidance on. And, you know, that's a scary thing going forward. Like, how am I going to do that without her? But it made it special in that sense. It was just really nice to have her. So when I watch it now, I think of how much I battled to keep this part in, or she was
Uh-huh.
right. I know it precedes this, and she was right. I had to take it out. But she also told me, are you going to make a movie where the comedy turns on a terrorist incident where 11 Jews are killed at the Munich Olympics? Do you
Well,
really think that the audience is going to go with you? And she asked it out of love and out of maybe they will, But every time that part comes up with that menacing music and then the shot of that famous, I always get a little nervous. Like, wow, what if they really are like, this is not funny?
Well,
Strange.
there's
well,
the thing
I think
in comedy.
I think that's a juxtaposition. The juxtaposition.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing.
The saying in comedy, too soon. Well,
Right. 9/11.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think that it's. I mean, not that the struggles and conflicts are not persistent, but that one particular event is in the rearview mirror, long, far enough that to most people, they will see where you're going with that, and they will not be triggered by it.
Right. I agree.
It is something very serious, but
that so far has been the experience. Yes.
Yeah, and all the things that you have in that film, in your film, all are things that I grew up with Jim McKay,
oh God,
Wide World of Sports, this whole thing. And I don't remember particularly watching the 72 Olympics. I don't remember. I definitely remember hearing about the incident, the situation, but I don't remember watching that particular Olympics. I think it was post mortem, after the fact that wow. But the way this is woven into the story, I mean, it just pulled me in and then cracked me up, because it's like gorilla. It's just
And there is that twinge at the end when my mother says, "We should call your father." I still remember.
Right.
And that happened many times during my childhood. He would come home and my mother would be like, "Oh, let me tell you what this genius did." And I'd have to sit there kind of front row and listen to her. One of the other stories I saw, the way I wrote Guerrilla Warfare was I wanted to write a blog. I read somebody's blog. I think James Fenimore Cooper, the famous writer, once said he was reading something and he told his wife, "This is dribble. I could do better." She was like, "Then do it." And he did. So I think I read something by somebody, a friend of ours, and I told my wife privately, I'm like, "This is garbage. I could do better." And she was like, "Well, you know what Fenimore Cooper's wife said." And I'm like, "No, I don't, English major. Enlighten me. I majored in film. We were watching Dr. Caligari when you were reading books. I don't know what you're talking." And then she told me all about it. And then I started writing. And one of the things I wrote one about hitting all the people. I wrote one about being an altar boy. And that's where Guerrilla Warfare came from. And I forgot where I was going again. This is from the party days of the Nobody's film, the Rock Club. This is where it comes from. I go off on something. I could hear my kids laughing outside. They're probably like, "He did it again." But anyway, I ramble. So I ramble.
No, it's okay.
Oh, well, I know what it was. There was one about finding my diary. And my mother made me, I hope to make, it's too embarrassing to make into film, but I remember her putting the book in front of me, like reading the horrible, sordid stuff, sex, drugs, rock and roll. I was 17, and she reads it and then puts it in front of me and goes, "Start reading from here." And I was like, it was horrific. Now, we laughed at that later, but we did not laugh at it at the time. And that's how I felt about Guerrilla Warfare. It was terrifying when it was happening. I was really afraid. And I was that kind of kid. You can see in that picture.
Right.
I was not sure of myself, and my brother was, and everybody around me looked to be. And so I do remember my mother at one point laughing about that. And I remember thinking, "Mom, that's one of the harrowing events of my teen years is when you found that," because I thought I was going to go to rehab. And I thought, but it's one of those things, like you just said, tragedy plus time. You can laugh at it later, but in the moment, you don't dare. Nobody made a 9/11 joke till quite a few years later. Now there's too many of them for my taste, but you know what I mean? So I do look for grace from people. I hope that they see that I'm not anti-Semitic or anything. It's far from it. But I just, to get somebody to laugh at something with that kind of content also took some kind of chutzpah, I felt like, well, if they don't, they don't. But if they do, if they go with me, imagine that, And I thought it was absurd enough and a little out there enough for people to either be like, "Yeah, it's a little too crazy," but if they went, so be it,
How did you feel? You mentioned it a couple of times, but the crowd reactions to it.
Well, that's my favorite thing. And I know some people who don't go to they go to the festival and they stay in the lobby or they get a drink while their film is playing.
Right.
And I'm like, don't you want to watch people watching it? I watch people watch it. I don't sit there and look at faces, but I listen. And I listen to the beat happen. Did this joke get a laugh? Is this, too much? Are people, getting up to go to the bathroom? Just so I use it as a lab to see, like, if when I get wordy, when I get too talky, for my next thing, because I want to make sure, get to the point, get to the funny, do it, or get to the meat of it. Don't elaborate. My wife's big thing when she edited for me was you every time I take words out, you put words back in. You
Right.
put an adverb in, you put this or an adjective, you don't need it. And I finally learned to trust her. And like I said, now I'm going to be kind of in no man's land and on my own. But I hope to, maybe she'll guide me from beyond, and I'll find my way a little bit
The
with
pacing
that.
was really good. I got to be honest with you. And again, I'm gushing over it because it just touched the spot, the spot in my heart.
Yeah, that's
Of the
great.
age that we are.
Right.
And like, look, if I had grown up in Alaska and had no clue about the Planet of the Apes or anything like that,
Right. I wonder about that.
I might think it was cute and funny, but the
Not my bag.
relatability,
Yeah.
right? The relatability of it
Yeah.
for me, it was enough to knock me out. And I showed my son up until the part where the terrorist thing happened.
Right.
He would bug out a little bit. He's only 11.
That's too much.
So,
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So he was watching this. He goes, he had all this stuff. That's all cool stuff. Wow. That's great stuff. And then I said, okay, well, and he's like, this looks really real. I said, well, the Planet of the Apes back then was as real as maybe not as real as it looks now because it's all AI or green screen or whatever.
Right.
I said, but back then that was like that, Charlton Heston, like you were talking about him, like he was the shit, before the NRA and all the other wacky crap.
Right.
But yeah, he was the shit, and I remember watching that particular film, you bastard, whatever.
You all to hell.
Right.
So hammy. He was, and now when I look back, I look at him at anything, an airport, in any movie he's in. And what really helped was Second City lampooned the hell out of that movie. They actually did Towering Inferno, and Joe Flaherty from Second City did a takeoff on Heston grabbing his. He was just always exasperated and pissed off. He was in Burger King. I'll take a Whopper with you, and he's just emoting even when he's doing something that simple. And I think the penny dropped me. I probably was about 19, 18 when that was on, and I remember thinking, they're having a go at him the way my parents used to laugh at. I remember seeing Touch of Evil, the Orson Welles movie in college, and the guy with the teacher was waxing profound about, look at the opening shot, it's 7 minutes long, and I was like, can we talk about the elephant in the room? Why is Charlton Heston playing a Mexican police chief in this movie? It's so beyond, with one of the greatest actors and directors ever to live. He cast Charlton Heston, because by that time, like I said, the veil had been lifted, but I still have a soft spot for him. And when I saw him get kind of pilloried, in Bowling for Columbine, my heart went out to him. I felt bad for him. I think it's that one. One of them was Dick Clark, and one of them was Heston, and I felt bad for him. But yeah, it's funny when you're a kid, who you think is great,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Guilty pleasures,
Had you ever been to Red Bank before?
No, before that, no, I hadn't. But I had heard so much great stuff about it, and I watched Comic Book Men for a time with my wife, and I read Kevin Smith's biography. I think it's called "Oh Shit." It's Kevin Smith, something like that. And it was a great bio. I liked Clerks, but I was just like, man, during that time, I think I was getting older and the filmmakers were getting younger, Smith and Tarantino. And I remember being like, wow, they're a mouthy bunch. They really like to talk about themselves. But I was like, whatever, the work should speak for itself. And it did. And so I came around. And then in the book, he talked about how hard it was, which was probably something you can't say now because Bruce Willis is Hollywood royalty and he's ill. But he wrote a screed in that thing about what a jackass Bruce Willis was when they were shooting the movie with Tracy Morgan, Cop something. There were two cops, a buddy cop movie. And it was unbelievable to hear somebody in Hollywood kind of just like, all right, let me lift the veil for you and tell you this guy was a shit. He treated me like dog, because I wasn't established. And I thought it was great. And so I bought into Kevin really full time there. And then, to see that he had health troubles and this and that. Yeah. But once I had read the book, I was just like, this, what he did, a kid from Nowheresville, and just the moxie that it took. I just thought that's what indie filmmaker, and then he changed the whole map of everything.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then when you think you got him figured out, he takes a left turn. He does that Walrus movie, that Tusk, whatever the goddamn hell that was.
Mhm.
And then he has time to do this thing. And not only that, it would be one thing if look, he has a store. You go in there and it's one of the best comic book stores I've ever been in. They had everything. They had every book, every graphic novel, the comics. It was just really, really cool. And I have a video that I did of just my journey to Red Bank, the bridge and that.
Oh,
And
wow.
I have to put that up and I have to send it to you because I had such a ball. I drove by myself, and yeah, it was just a cool thing. And then, like I said, being in a real theater, that place was great, by the way.
Yes.
The show was very, very cool. And
We
I've been meaning
really
to.
appreciate
I
them.
got to get on. They're fantastic. That was really,
Basie Center Cinema's House.
Right, that's it.
Basie Cinema House now.
Really great, really great. The town is fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I plan on coming back, and I have a bunch of friends in Westchester, some in North Jersey, who are like, we're going to do something, get together there, because it's the perfect place,
Yeah, I just really kind of connected with you when you got there, man. You're just so ingratiating. You're just so cool to hang.
I was wired up too. I was like,
well,
I've been in the car for 2 hours. I was like, let's go.
You should be. Your show is playing. You were amped up about that.
I was,
and it was just great meeting you, and you're just really cool to just shoot the shit with. So
thank you, man.
I mean, it was just a blast. Like there are people that we watch their films and we really enjoy some of the work they do, and then sometimes it's a hit or miss because sometimes we're dealing with directors, sometimes we're dealing with producers, sometimes
actors,
we're dealing with actors, and so far we've been pretty blessed that people were really like happy to be there and just saying, hey, look, this is so cool, thank you for doing this. And we're like, well, we don't do this without you, and I say that to you because tonight, that day, that week, that the film festival, like without people like you, without your product, without your, I don't want to call it product, without your production, without your art, your piece of who you are, without that, this doesn't exist. So thank you for sharing that with us. And now I'm hoping you're able to share it with whoever along the way.
Absolutely.
This was good stuff.
We are in awe of the creative people, and you know what? Just meeting people, that's easily by far the best part of this.
Yeah, I wish I could have been there more days because you
I was hoping for
such a great slate. Right? And when I was only able to go that day, I was just work is what got in my way, and I was just like, damn it. And the last festival,
there's something that we could do better next year, which is I want to set up the schedules and everything at least a month earlier than we did this year. So maybe there could be some foreplanning from people.
That would be great. Because I was trying to figure out either how to stay there. I went to a festival in Nyack and it was 7 days. So I still had to do 2 bridges.
Wow.
So when a week later, I got a bill from, because now you don't drive through the toll booth and see, I owe money. Oh, I'm crossing it, and it's, whatever.
Sure.
I don't like that.
It's ridiculous. I like the boots. Like, where did those jobs go? It's like driving just like, where's the limit? I used to we're in Jersey now. And I ended up getting a bill for like $240 of tolls. And I'm like, to your brain, it's free because you never stopped, you never threw anything in. And
they take away it's called the sting of the purchase or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And so now I'm like, all right, if I go there 4 days to hang on to your shorts, I'm going to be owing some money. So I'm going to put some money aside for tolls so I don't spend it all at the comic book store or the pizza place down there.
Right. So now are you planning on getting something going? I mean, you got a couple of things in my opinion. Now, you said you had a film or you did a film about being an altar boy.
No, so that was a story. That was something I was doing these. I did one of them. I did the altar boy story. I'll have to send it to you, the link. I did it as for that blog that I was writing. I kind of got those stories together and I put them up. And then there's a thing called The Moth. It's a storytelling organization. I don't know if you know of it. No. So I ended up going down there. Yeah, you put your story idea in a hat and they mix it up and then they pull out and it has to be banked on a theme. The theme that night was blunders. Mistakes and stuff. So I put my thing in, my altar boy story, because I screw up in the story. I do something dumb. And so they picked it out. So you get up and you do your 5-minute story. And I'd never done stand-up, but that's what it amounted to. It was in my hometown in Flushing. I got up on town hall stage where I'd been many times and I crushed it. I knocked it out of the park. And so that was where they came from, all these stories.
Oh, wow.
And please redirect me again. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this on the podcast. So you asked me,
I asked
What
you
was
about the altar boy
the
situation.
altar boy thing? So I didn't make a film of it, but I did the moth
The
story
moth.
about it.
Yeah.
So now what I want to do is make a film of that. And again, I can't ring the same bell. I get the feeling it would start to be very much like what I did here. It would just be more personal. And I don't want to kind of always bank on my father's photographs, although that's a wonderful thing about all the
Yeah,
movies I've done. My father was a shutterbug. Now, everybody has a camera in their hand, in their pocket, at
sure,
anywhere you go. My father was the guy who looked like a Japanese tourist in the 70s. He had a
sure.
clunky Nikon camera around his neck. He had
Yeah.
that indent on his neck because he
Mhm.
brought it everywhere. When I did the Little League film, he took over like 500 pictures of his four children. And so, I mean, at the dinners, at the banquets, on the field,
Mhm.
before the game, eating ice cream. So it is a wonderful thing to connect with, but I don't want to do the same thing. So right now I'm working on a documentary about Bill Shea. He's the lawyer that brought the Mets who brought
Mhm.
National League Baseball back to New York. I'm working
Shea
with actually
Stadium,
with a,
Is
yeah,
from Shea Stadium,
Sh-
right? Yeah.
yeah, Shea Stadium is named after him.
Right.
And the thing is, who's Bill Shea? Who did he play for? He didn't play for anybody. And in an era when you name everything after the bank or this, or
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
so they named it after this guy who didn't want any publicity. It's got Robert Moses in there,
Oh,
who's been crushed by history. Nobody gave him a
wow.
break, and so we're trying to give him a break. I said we have to stake out a position on the story that's different. Otherwise, everybody already knows it. Robert
Sure,
Moses is the villain. He's a racist. He's this. He's that. I said if we just tell that story again, I'll fall asleep because that's so
sure.
we trying to do something different. I'm working with a festival, a guy who runs a festival is working on that with me. He runs the Unisphere Festival. It used to be the Queen's Film Festival. He
Oh,
got
cool.
sued by what's her name? I won't say her name. She runs another festival in Queens. And so he changed it to
Oh, I never
Unisphere. I'm working with him on that. And then I'm working on that other one, Don't Hit the People. And
right,
it's about
okay.
my accidents. And I'm reenacting it in Google Earth with I have a Volkswagen kind of cruise into the scene and hit
Nice.
a kid on a bike. Yeah. So
Oh,
I have a couple of things in the hopper.
sure.
And you know what happens? Usually I go to a festival like yours and I'll see a 24-year-old kid who's up there at the Q&A and he says, yeah, this is my seventh film with Joe Blow. And I'm like, this kid I waited till I was in my 50s to put out my first film. So when I see these kids, I'm in awe and I also want to strangle them. Like, how
Mhm.
dare you at 24 have that
Right,
big a
right,
filmography? And
right.
so that chases me around when I
Yeah.
get antsy. I'm like, do something, write something, film something, go play in a band, get the
Mhm.
juices flowing. And so, youth is wasted on the young. That's what they say. It's
True.
not because I tell you what, I use it as a spur. It
Oh, yeah,
is
well,
true, but
now,
I
now.
use it as a spur now
Mhm.
because it's going to egg me on to finish projects or not, easily go, yeah, it's not going to work. Let me put it on the shelf.
Sure.
That's not going to happen. I got to see everything through because you know what? You find out, my wife passed, you find out that life is short and
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
tomorrow's not promised and
Wow.
it's grim and it's cliche, but it's so true. And so I want to make the most and I want to leave a mark. And you guys are helping people do
You
that, doing what you
you are.
do.
You
And
are, buddy.
it's a
Yeah.
great thing.
So my 30 seconds about all of that is you have a lot of great life experience that you could do documentaries or you could even use some of those things as fodder for like a drama
Yeah.
that you
Right.
create, like, and you incorporate all your passions. When it comes to people that have left us,
Yeah.
um, it hurts in our heart. I had a thought several years back that I kind of feel like liberated me. Uh, I was driving after coaching baseball into middle school baseball, and kids
Right.
had already populated the baseball field, other kids, and were playing. I saw two young kids walking hand in hand, and at the end
Oh,
of the block there was a cemetery. And I actually smiled in spite of myself, and I'm like, you know what? The day that God calls us home, like
yeah.
kids are still gonna fall in love. Baseball is still gonna be played.
Right.
A baby's gonna cry. Lightning is gonna strike. So when we go, everything that we love
Yeah.
remains.
It's
Remain.
true.
Okay. And I am sorry to hear about your wife,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
look, the person that she adored and her kids are
Yeah.
still evidence of her life here.
Mm.
Yeah.
And listen to that voice because she's still with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And anything I do forward from those blog entries, she edited all of those. So I will have that constant reminder. And sometimes it'll be like, you had to take that part out, didn't you? But in the end, I always defer to her because she just had a better editorial mind that she didn't like writing her own stuff, but she loved editing my stuff. And I'm
Absolutely.
an
Some people,
editor.
that's
So
their
I was like,
strength.
I get that. Yeah. It's so,
That's her
and
strength.
she was unerring. And it's funny, my kids write, they used to write fan fiction and stuff. And we used to lament, like, oh, you got your paperback from mom with the coded colors and the yellow meats. And we would grouse about, like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
she's such a butcher. But she knew she was always right. And that's the way we look at it. So
That's cool.
thank you. That's a very touching thing. It really is true. And it's never been, actually, when you're 19 and one of your aunts dies or a relative, and how old is the Aunt Angie? She was 65. She was so young. I'm like, young? At 19, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
even
yeah.
ponder being 30.
Yeah.
And so now I'm 61. And if
Mhm.
I had friends die last week, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, 59
Yeah.
is young. You don't think it when you're 24. You don't think it when you're 30. But when you're 61, you're like, Jesus Christ. And
Mhm.
it really starts to hit home. And I understand Woody Allen, he's 85, he's still making movies. Sometimes you're like, God, how does he do it? Or, who gets it a lot is acts like the Rolling Stones. Like, what are
Mhm.
they doing? It's embarrassing. Why? Why? It's embarrassing because it's more of a visual medium and they try to look 20. But Picasso didn't stop painting when he was
No,
86,
no,
whatever. He kept
no.
going. Why would you stop? And so those are
I
the
think
things that keep me going. Like, just keep going and
I
going
think
and going and
that,
going.
that's part of our history, meaning
Yeah.
yours and mine, meaning in that, because I'm 61,
Right.
and
Oh, there you go.
and my whole thing is that, yeah, I don't look at the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, any of those bands, and say, give it up already. No, because they're still creating, and if you're
Right.
still creating, you're still alive. And
Right.
our drive is to create and to be be present, be here, be now.
Right.
And look, if they make a couple $1 billion off of it, hey, I don't give a shit. I've seen the Stones a couple times at least. I've seen a lot of bands, a lot more than that. And you know what? Every time I've seen somebody play, whether it be Squeeze or this or that, or
Right.
I've been in appreciation because they were creating and they were doing something that I was like, wow, like that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
remember seeing the Stones and them not being that good, but
mhm,
so what? When I hear Ruby Tuesday when I'm driving my
mhm,
car somewhere, I'm gonna get hit right in the life, right there. And
yeah,
I'm gonna remember the first time I heard. I'm gonna remember who did I have a crush on that year?
mhm,
What did the air smell like when I was, like
all right.
what was my block like in Flush? It's just,
Yeah.
and music does that even more than film. I love film,
Mhm,
but music is the medium that if I get up to a chorus of a song and I think about one of my kids singing it, I can't even continue
sure.
singing because I'm going to cry. And
Yep.
music does that to me every time. I
Mhm.
try not to cry at open mics, but sometimes I'm more successful than
Hey,
So,
others.
so
But
my question to you then is,
yeah,
what do
sorry.
you play? What do you play? No, it's
I play the drums, yeah.
okay.
So,
All right, good.
what do you call a guy who hangs out with musicians? It's you call him a drummer. And so my wife used to use that joke, but I used to tell her, "How do you know a bass player is on at the door? Because he keeps knocking and he falls off the beat, and then he never knows when to come in." Yeah, that's
Right. Well,
she didn't like that joke as much as the musician,
I
the
think
drummer
that's
did.
right.
hilarious.
That's great.
Well, we
Yeah.
hope you kill it tonight.
Yeah, please.
Yes, me too.
I hope. Thank you so much for taking the time to come here. One thing I'm going to ask you, if you haven't already done so, if you go to the Basie Cinema House
Oh yeah,
website, if you could review them and give them some
absolutely.
love because they could use it.
I
And
will.
and out of the bottom of our hearts, thank you
Yes,
for your great
please.
art.
Yeah.
We appreciate filmmakers such as yourself,
Mhm.
and we hope to see more stuff from you.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Stay in contact. Look, give us a buzz sometime and just let us know.
If
like,
you're ever
hey,
doing anything
yeah,
that you want promoted, hit us up.
Oh, for
yeah,
sure,
and
for
I'd love
sure.
to have you on. I insisted after seeing the film, after meeting you, that you needed to be on
Oh,
because
I love it. And thank you so much.
you were that big a big a piece of that weekend for me. So
Yes, and
Oh,
thank
we
you.
that's
wish
great.
we
That's
wish you
great.
could have.
Yeah.
And you know what? Next year, hopefully, you'll have something in our festival. But even if you
You
don't,
don't.
make it for a day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come
I always
hang
do.
out.
Yeah, I always come out.
Yeah.
Anytime you know what it's like at a festival, that hangover, the day when it's over, I want to cry. I
Sure.
don't even want to get out of bed. I'm still thinking of the people I met, the great movies I saw. What
Mhm.
if I try this? You know who was great? This and that. For people who run the festival, I can't even imagine that you can even function for 3 days because every festival I go to, I make new friends,
Yeah.
festival friends. You know them, you've met them 3 times ever, but you feel like this with them. It's crazy,
Yes.
and they're from all over the world. It's
Mhm.
nuts.
Yeah.
And so I will keep coming no matter if I have a film in and stuff. And
Yes, please.
plus, you know what? My life is different now. I don't my kids are grown. They kind of have their own thing. So when I go out to open mics and I go to festivals, it scratches that social itch for me too,
Yeah.
and I need that.
That's cool.
It's kind of a vacuum now, and I got to fill it. And so festivals are the best. This film it's the most festivals I've done, and I'm super proud of it.
Should be.
And I hope it doesn't end. I have about 6 or 7 more that are still waiting to hear from, and I can't tell you how overjoyed I am. And thank you so much for picking it and seeing what was special about this movie.
Well, thank you so much, Charlie,
Yes.
and
All right,
Charlie,
Charlie.
and thank you so much, buddy, and I hope you kill it tonight.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm
hit
gonna.
anybody. Don't hit anybody on the way.
Yes,
Don't hit the
please.
paintball. Coming to a theater near you.
Right. And please stay in the loop with us. Like
You got it, man.
call,
Absolutely.
text, just let us know what you're doing, and please, whether you do something or you don't do something, I would love to hang out with you again, man.
I think so, and I would love to come to Red Bank. So,
Yeah.
BK and Hiram, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
brother.
much, buddy. God bless.
Take care, God
All
bless.
right,
Thank
gents.
you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
He was a blast.
That was
Great.
Charlie Caragiolo of Guerrilla Warfare. That was fun. That was just fun.
Mhm.
I love his energy.
Yeah.
He's
Hi. Yep.
and you know what? He is.
Good
I don't
people.
care what his. I don't care what his. What's that called? The chronological age is.
No.
He's young.
Yeah. Oh, there's no
he's
doubt.
A young,
yeah.
he's a young soul.
Yeah. I would not.
He may not think so, but he is.
Yeah. No. Yeah. To me. I mean, look, he's the same age as me, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought 60, 61 and nothing.
No.
Yeah. No.
And
Good
you know
energy,
what?
Nice piece.
He
nice
is
people.
one of many great filmmakers that we have to be reaching out for more people. In our subsequent podcasts that we're going to do.
Mhm.
We want to thank Christian who's here chilling with us. He's our engineer today. Christian C, who has been filming all over New Jersey, up in the woods, he said. And he's just like a creative force.
He was in the woods the weekend we were doing the festival. So,
yes, that's where he was going. That's where he was heading.
Right.
And I know the area. I think I camped out there in the 90s in Lake Wawayanda, I think it was.
It's gorgeous.
It is freaking beautiful. So we can't wait to see. Hopefully we will see what it was that he was working on in the following year. I hope people are.
Well, will Ryan be released? I mean, like, does he have any? Like, is it a short? Is it any clues to that?
It's a short.
Okay,
it's a short. It's a science fiction piece he's been working on for a little while.
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to give away a lot.
Oh, of course. It's okay. We're good.
There's some really dope things he's doing. Ryan's one of my favorite creatives.
Yes.
Like, I literally, when I met him, it seemed to kick my creative, actual endeavors into overdrive.
Wow. Nice.
Ryan C. Scott, right?
Yeah. Here's the joke, though. I lived in Howell for almost 20 years. I grew up in Howell, Ramtown.
Sorry. Oh, Ramtown.
And lo and behold, Ryan lived less than 5 minutes away from me, and we had no idea. And then within 2 years of knowing that, I ended up moving. And it was so funny because then me and Ryan hit it off so well. We literally were like, bro, if we had met earlier, we would have won the Academy Award by now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But be on the lookout. Follow all his pages, Scottastic Productions, for any updates on his final Scottastic.
Yeah, he's my neighbor, man. I live in Brick, so
I lived in Howell. I grew up outside of Farmingdale, and I'm very familiar.
I ran into you guys at the it's next to Burger 25.
Icarus.
Yes. I love that place.
Yes, I love Icarus. We love Icarus. Absolutely.
Good people.
I got hammered that night.
Yeah. Ryan played at Purple Park too, huh?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I used to love to bring my son to Purple Park, and we will admit that Halloween, that's where we used to go trick-or-treating.
Yeah, because that neighborhood would give away the good shit.
Good stuff. And they had adult Halloween stuff sometimes.
Purple Park.
Those cul-de-sacs there's even a gentleman there that owns a pizza business that gives away pizza slices. He has the ovens.
That's so funny. Then you probably You probably got candy from either my mom or my dad then over the years and not even
probably.
Wow.
Probably.
Because my dad used to love Halloween. But my dad, because of course he had to be extra, he would drive around the neighborhood blasting Halloween music. He would set up the speaker system in our front yard playing like classics.
Sure.
But then he'd make sure you were roaming around the neyborhood blasting like Thriller, Somebody's Watching Me, anything spooky and scary. So
that is awesome.
That's great.
See, this is why we love the Jersey Shore. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that
center
talks
of the universe.
Anybody that talks trash on Jersey, they've obviously never been here,
right,
or never been anywhere else, so have no frame of reference.
Right. That's true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to you, buddy. Thank you for the great Thai food that we had earlier. Thank you for the two, fun and delicious libations that we had today.
Is your place from Five
Nines Brewing? They were awesome today, by the way. They were hopping a little bit.
They were.
It was really cool.
It was nice. I don't know who's playing at the theater in town, meaning like who's playing at the Count Basie, but
Craig Ferguson.
Oh shit!
Wow.
I love Craig.
See, there's always something going on.
Yep.
I
love Craig. I'm talking like he's a friend of mine, but yes, I've seen him multiple times. My mom's a huge fan. I brought her a couple of times when she was in her 70s to see him at the theater. Yeah, we saw him there, and I think at the State Theater way back. That was like one of her birthday presents or something. She wanted me to get her. Could you take me to go see Craig Ferguson? Because my dad didn't want to go. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take you. And it was probably like maybe 10 years ago, maybe more. I took her to see the last time he played. I mean, I'm sure he's played the theater since then, but we saw him at the Count Basie. Yeah, it was nice.
That is
so awesome. Basie Center Cinemas is now
Basie Cinema House.
Basie Cinema House, which is Raphael running the place.
Yes, and Charlie.
And Charlie, and doing a great job.
They always are. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in a couple of weeks. Absolutely highlighting some of the talent and some of the artists that screened with us this year.
Yes.
We want to thank Charlie for joining us today.
Yes, that was great. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, Christian Cordes for hosting. The person that's here in spirit all the time, Ming Chen.
Yes.
Of
Ambassador of Goodwill.
Yes, a shared universe, and who just returned from Comic Palooza in Houston.
Houston.
Lucky bastard.
I know, right?
Got to get there. Got to get there. I mean, we were there. I got to get back. We got to get back. Yeah.
We definitely do.
A lot of fun.
Well, with God's help, in a couple of years, knock on wood, schedule should open up a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
And last but certainly not least, to all the, all the people, all the fans, our family, AJ, DD, my parents, everybody that supports us in this crazy endeavor, and all the creatives who submit to the Hang On to Your Shorts Film Festival.
Keep doing it, because without
much.
You guys, it ain't happening. So we are blessed by your presence and the things that you make. So, and
we just opened up our queue, so the early bird rates.
Yes.
It's not going to get any less expensive than this. So please.
Right. And with inflation, it might not get any. You're right. It might not get any cheaper than that.
No. And it's pretty good. It's so good that, well, not that this means anything, but for the rates that it's going right now, you could probably get a couple of gallons of gasoline, maybe. Really? Gas is more expensive than submitting to our festival.
I think gas is more expensive than, probably not that. Okay, but close. Close, yeah. So yes, thank you, Christian. Thank you for hanging with us tonight and giving us this cool vibe. And thank you to Shared Universe Podcast Studio for having us here. We are blessed beyond measure.
I'm pointing to the.
Was that?
To the
hang on to shirts. Oh, okay. All right. Like almost kind of like,
yes, like this.
Goal. We're holding this up. We're holding that up.
Don't.
Cover him.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
I want to thank the good man, the pup, and my wife, and my mom. Thanks for all your goodness. Thank you for your love and kindness.
Thank you, everybody. Peace out.
Oh, that's a cool heart.